I've been thinking about doing this for a while, so I think I'm just going to go for it. This is a video about my introduction to being raised a Jehovah's Witness and how I ended up becoming a dedicated, crazy person in a cult. So it all starts with my nan and granddad. Here they are, that were Jehovah's Witnesses. They had children, my mum being one of them. So my mum was baptised fairly young, very similar to me, really passionate about what she was being taught, really excited about the promise of living in the paradise. So she wholeheartedly gave up everything, all her dreams in this life, in hope that she would be able to live in the paradise earth in the future. Sadly, at 17 years old, she forgot about the paradise and put a dick in her mouth. Bit of a joke I made up earlier, thought I'd add that in. It's reality though. At 17 years old, of course, you're exploring your sexuality, which is completely normal. Well, sadly, for a Jehovah's Witness, if you do something like that, you are disfellowshipped. You are completely shunned and completely isolated. So, what did my mum do? She ended up seeking out connections in men. Lots of different men. She'd lost everyone else, had no one else to turn to, so the next best thing was to form relationships where possible. And obviously she was an attractive female, she met loads of different men. Now this is my observation and my opinion of what's happened, and it affects my life, so I'm completely entitled to do this. Sadly, I don't talk to my mum anymore, but who knows, this might get a reaction from her. In her 20s, still being disfellowshipped, completely alone, no support network, she ended up having 5 children with the men that she was seeking connections with. Now, what a depressing situation to be in. Now, religion in general, as well as the Jehovah's Witnesses, will teach you that abortion is wrong. But really, don't you think that my mum would have been better off seeking therapy and getting help and sorting out her life, getting over the troubles of what she'd been through, having been raised in a cult, and getting disfellowshipped so young. But she ended up having us. She was taught that life was sacred and therefore it was better to have us. But she wasn't ready to have us, not at all. And I think it's lovely that she still had us, but maybe she should have done what was right for her at the time. Anyway, she was deeply unhappy. So continued to look for men until she met someone that she really loved. And this guy was pretty decent, really lovely, and promised to look after her and love her forever. And so she married him and chased the paradise-like promise of being loved forever, and ran away to America, which unfortunately left us 5 kids here in England to be fostered by my nan and granddad. And it was at this point, as they were Jehovah's Witnesses, that we got really indoctrinated. And my nan once said to me, "You're either on Satan's side or Jehovah's side," and that was enough for me to realise I don't want to be on the side of the devil. And I think that's where the severe indoctrination really, I guess, started with these two. Now, some pretty awful things happened living at Nanny and Granddad's, which I won't bother talking about on here, you can probably guess, but it was pretty unpleasant, to which we had to move into different foster homes, and it is here that I ended up living with my auntie and uncle, who were very much Jehovah's Witnesses. And because of me losing all my connections, all my family, brothers and sisters, I really threw myself into being a Jehovah's Witness and decided to get baptised myself. Really excited about the promise of the paradise. It was certainly going to resolve all the issues. There was scriptures about when your mother and your father do leave you, then Jehovah is here for you. There was scriptures about justice, God being the God of justice, which would resolve a lot of the things that happened here. You know, it was absolutely my vice. It really looked after me. And yeah, I guess that was the beginning and the end to my life as a Jehovah's Witness. So there's a short, brief overview of how it affected my mum's life and therefore my life and my brothers and sisters. I mean, they don't have a relationship with my mum either. Despite the fact she's disfellowshipped now, none of us really have a healthy relationship with her because she's really affected, which takes me back to the fact that maybe mum should have just looked after herself and got some therapy rather than having 5 children. Now, I'm happy to be alive, obviously. It's been some dark times, but it makes sense why. The Jehovah's Witnesses really didn't help. So thanks guys for listening. And yeah, I really think the Jehovah's Witnesses and the organisation and the leaders of it that are greedy, money hungry people need to think about what they're doing to families, because it's wrong. It's disgusting. And I love my mum and I don't talk to her even though we're both disfellowshipped, but I mean, how do you recover from this sort of mess? Poor thing. Anyway, right, that was me done. Bye.